Well, happy hump day, creeps. Thank you for tuning in to the Creepy Cascadia podcast. As always, I'm Sammy, one of your hosts, and I am joined by my dashing co-host slash husband, Adam.
Yeah.
How you doing today, my love?
I'm doing all right.
I'm full.
Yeah.
I made my chili, guys. I put chili in the crock pot because it was under 70 degrees today. And my friends came up this weekend, a couple of my girlfriends, and God, it was so much fun. Like, we had a blast. We laughed so hard on Saturday night. We were just like sitting around bullshitting and laughing so hard.
I'm surprised you even have like a voice.
I know.
Like
I was dying.
I still remember there was one point where like you were like coughing. Like
I was because I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that happens a lot because I think I'm pretty funny, and my friends are very funny. But yeah, so we shopped, we went to the casino, we stopped and got crumble cookies. Mani-pedis. But, so we also have leftover crumble cookies right now, so we had chili and cornbread, and then we split a crumble cookie for dessert, and now I'm ready to just pass the fuck out.
But we gotta record.
We gotta record.
We gotta record first.
Yep. So,
treat yourself.
Yeah. That's why I'm so fat, is because that's been my motto. Treat yourself.
Well, I meant more like treat yourself to some sleep.
Yeah, that's next on the agenda.
Yeah.
Well, we hope everybody's having a good week. We had a big scare this past week.
Yeah.
Miss Winnie, who is just the light of our life, her and her brother, Jaxie, she got a hold of a lily leaf, which is super fucking toxic to cats. And so Adam had been super sweet. He bought me flowers because I love getting flowers. We realized that some of them were lilies, and so, we tossed them out in the backyard, but a leaf must have fallen, and luckily I was working from home that day, and she was like acting fine, and then she threw up.
Yeah.
And I was cleaning it up, and I went to throw like the paper towels in the garbage, and I noticed a leaf on the ground next to the garbage, and I thought, oh fuck. So I picked it up, Googled it, it was like the lily leaf.
Yeah.
So I called the animal hospital, and they're like, you need to take her to the emergency vet right away. Like, get her there now. Don't call them. Just go. So I'm freaking the fuck out, trying to call Adam. He was on a call, and his coworker gave him the worst message ever. Because I had called, and he's like, he knows who I am. So he's like, oh, what's going on? I'm like, well, okay, can you tell Adam that I'm pretty sure our cat ate some poison, and I'm taking her to the emergency vet, and to call me as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And what was the message you got?
The message I got was one of the cats ate some soy sauce and needs to go to the hospital. And then he's like, I could hear the cat. He's like, the cat was not happy. The cat was in the background like, rah, rah, and he like made that noise. Like,
yep. And that's how she sounded. She was not happy that I had to take her in the car. Like, I didn't even shower, which, if anybody knows me, like, that is not, I'm like showering before I go anywhere.
These two.
And yeah, they're back at it.
Guess what? They're happy and healthy now.
Spoiler. Yes, yep. Spoiler alert. So anyway, little Winnie had to spend 2 nights at the animal hospital on an IV because it causes kidney failure in cats. That's what it will like send them into kidney failure and kill them like less than a week. So we were really lucky that we caught it early and took her in right away.
Yeah.
But she was not happy.
Yeah.
They said that she was like really anxious, and then the second day they said, yeah, she's a little feisty. And I thought, oh shit, she's probably being a little terror at the vet.
Well, I mean, she already cries when you like try to pick her up.
She does. She does not like being picked up.
She doesn't like being picked up. She doesn't like being petted. So like she's not a cuddly cat.
She is on her own terms. Yeah. In the mornings, she's cuddly. She comes in like, I have a little vanity like shelf thingy that I sit at. And she comes and sits right in between like my feet and lays on the blanket and purrs. Yeah, so she's cuddly that way. Like, she'll come and cuddle and like get me to pet her. And the cutest thing that she does, I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes if you don't pay attention to her, she reaches up and like tries to grab your hand.
Yeah.
Have you noticed her doing that? She does it to me in the mornings when I'm getting ready sometimes.
I don't think she does that to me too often.
She just did it upstairs and you saw and we were laughing about it. Because
Yeah,
I was
you were like
talking with my hands, which I always do.
You were talking with your hands.
Yep.
And I thought she was like mimicking you and trying to like.
Little bitch is making fun of me.
Yeah.
I'm a human. Look at me talking. Dur, 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 dur.
It reminded me more of like when you're teaching your dog to shake.
That's what it did feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so PSA to all of our cat friend owners out there. If you don't know, lilies are super toxic. And the doctor told me that the stem, like the water that the stems are in, or even if the pollen gets on their fur and they lick their fur after the pollen can cause them to go into kidney failure. So
basically, don't bring lilies into your
never
house.
bring a lily into your house.
Yeah.
If you have a cat.
It was a very expensive lesson for me to learn.
Yes.
And it's one of those, like, thank God we're, like, we have the money. And, you know, all in all, like, in the long run, it seems like a lot of money now, but in the long run, it's fine. Like, Winnie is going to be our cat for, like, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Like.
And I will say, I have to give Adam a shout out because I know some people whose husbands are like, or spouses, it's not necessarily just husbands, but they're like, it's just a cat. Like, it's not that, I would never spend that much money. But you're so, like, you were very reassuring that, no, like, we can't just let her die or get sick. Like, we have to take care of her.
Yeah.
That's what, I mean, I was taking her in regardless, but it was really stressful. Guys, I don't know how people can be parents to actual children because I, like, bawled on the way home. Because I just felt like the worst person ever because I should have been more careful. But now we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have known.
That's what you get for trying to be sweet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone at work is like, the lesson learned is no flowers, right?
Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Yep. Just no lilies.
No, just got to make sure to know the right ones.
Yeah.
This is probably the first real, like, parenting moment of, like, responsible for, you know, like the actions you make, you know, like not knowing that this is poisonous or this is hazardous to your fur child, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of the fur children.
They're being super rambunctious.
At least they're playing again. We thought Jax was really missing Winnie, and I think he was just enjoying being the only cat in the house because he hissed at her. He's been hissing at her multiple times. They're finally playing now, back to their normal selves. But the first day, like when we brought her back home on Friday, he hissed at her so many times, and we're like, "Stop being a dick!"
I threatened to spray him with the water bottle.
Yeah.
And he still did it one or two more times, but I let them slide.
But the one time you're like, okay, you were justified in that one because you were like, oh, you were playing with the Grogu, and she like jumped on top of him. And he hissed, and you're like, all right, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our week, man. Whew.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Lots of things going on.
Yes. It was a whirlwind weekend. It was great to have the girls up. And I tell you what, I can't stay up and hang like I used to because I'm still fucking tired today. And I took a nap yesterday and fell asleep at like 10 o'clock.
So speaking of the girls coming out for the weekend.
Yeah.
What's our story about?
Well, before we get into that.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Always. What's up?
And it's going to throw you because it's really random, but it does tie into the case.
Okay.
What is your highest bowling score you've ever gotten?
Ooh, highest bowling score?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's in like the 230, 240 range.
You suck.
What?
What?
What do you mean what? I've never bowled a perfect game or even near it. Like, I mean, that's like 7 strikes in a row-ish.
You want to know what mine is?
What's yours?
Like sub 150.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I bowled in a league. Like,
I was in a league too.
Grade, like,
I was in a league as an adult, and I still sucked. It's fun though. Bowling's fun. I love bowling.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not good at it. I mean, if I hated everything I wasn't good at, I would never do anything. Know what I'm saying?
No, you're good at things. I don't know what you're saying.
I'm decent at baking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other things. I'm a masturbator.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't like to. I can't stick a hook through a worm. We've also been watching The Office, and he's like, "Did you say masturbator?" My cousin Moe's. I'm a decent baiter. My cousin Moe's. He's a masturbator. Dweeked.
Yep.
So yeah. Well.
So yeah. So pretty high, but at the same time, like, I feel like above 200 is pretty high for like a casual bowler.
Yeah.
Like.
I think you done good.
Well, I didn't consider myself a casual bowler per se. Like, I mean, like, I was bowling 3 games a week.
Dang.
Like in our league.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot for a league.
Yeah. In South Dakota, you don't have all that much to do for fun. So you go to the bowling alley at other times too, you know, and do like free bowl or whatever. Yeah.
We used to go to the bowling alley. Well, so a friend of mine, a childhood friend, her mom was in a bowling league, so I would hang out with them at the bowling alley a lot, you know, and bowl with her and her mom. When I was 21, sure, 21, we would go to the bowling alley because it was the Hoppin' Bar, one of the Hoppin' Bars in town.
Yep.
So we would go get trizashed at the bowling alley. So yeah, I used to hang out at the bowling alley and get drunk. That was always fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now did you have your own bowling ball? Did you have your own bowling shoes?
Never had my own bowling shoes. I did get my own bowling ball as like when I started in a league.
Okay.
Yeah. I still have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
I think it's in the upstairs closet maybe. Or in the downstairs one down here. Or in the mountains of stuff we have.
We're going to find it like I found other things.
Yeah. It's like a treasure hunt when you clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that.
I'm interested in how bowling or high score.
It's bowling.
It's going to tie in.
Okay. Well, let's just talk about this week's case then.
Yeah.
There aren't a ton of details about this case, but I did want to talk about it. I was telling Adam earlier, I actually remember this case from when I was a kid, preteen.
Okay.
I think I was probably a teen actually by that point. And it involves the disappearance of a child, so trigger warning. And this is actually still an unsolved case.
Okay.
So we are traveling back to 1999 in Tacoma, Washington, and we are discussing the abduction of Teekah Lewis. So, and I say abduction, somebody took her. Like, I don't think she wandered off or whatever. I'm just going to call it an abduction. Okay. She disappeared, but she was abducted.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I don't recognize the name.
It was
99. I would have been right around the time of graduating, like late, like senior in high school.
Yeah, and I was like probably 8th grade, I think, when this happened.
Probably something like that.
Yeah, and it was big news because I mean, really, like my hometown. Tacoma is a suburb of Seattle, which is where the major news stations were. It was big news back in 99. I remember, you know, hearing multiple things about it, and yeah. So, Teekah Latrice Lewis, I think is how you say her middle name, Latrice. She was actually born on July 4th, 1996, to Robert and Teresa Lewis. Now, she has multiple last names in the articles I've read. She also has gone by Teresa English and Zapaisky. I think Zapaisky is her maiden name because she had a sister that also went by that name. Okay. English may have been like if she remarried. I think Robert and Teresa were married because they... I've seen her referred to as Teresa Lewis as well.
Okay.
But I wasn't able to find any like records or anything to confirm that. She did go by Teresa English as well, but for the sake of this case, we're just going to call her by her first name, Teresa. Teekah was the fourth out of 5 children to Teresa. So she had another child about a year and a half after Teekah went missing.
Oh, went missing. Okay.
So on January 23rd, 1999, Teekah and her family were hanging out at the Frontier Lanes bowling alley, which was located on the 4700 block of Center Street in Tacoma, Washington. So at this time, Teekah was about 2.5.
Okay.
And it was her mom, her siblings, I believe. An aunt was there. I think it was just a big family hangout at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
Teekah was actually playing a racing game in the arcade that was located in the bowling alley. Her mom and other family members were all taking turns kind of keeping an eye on the kids. Some of the kids were bowling while others were playing in the arcade, just running around.
Yeah.
And I totally see that scene, like a busy bowling alley on a Friday night. There's kids running around everywhere. Like,
yeah.
It's just chaotic. There's loud music. I can totally picture that in my mind.
100%. I was doing the exact same thing. Like,
Yep.
Our bowling alley in South Dakota had the little bitty arcade room with like pinball or two and some other arcade games.
Yep.
And I remember like scrounging for quarters just so you can go play like a game or two.
Yep.
And then, yeah, I mean, the way you've described like the family dynamic, it's like, yeah, when you have like that many people there, it's easy to be like somebody else is watching or is keeping an eye to where it's like, it's almost like nobody is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it's like everybody is or nobody is.
Yeah, and I think with that many kids and that much chaos, it's easy to lose sight of someone momentarily.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I remember running around the bowling alley. Yeah.
Oh, like, me too.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Run to the bathroom on your own. You know,
just running around the place like a little feral child.
Yeah.
You know, unsupervised. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I did that all the time. I actually had another friend that her parents owned the bowling alley for a while, so I would go hang out with her on the weekends. You know, there.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, they were both named Amanda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and similar to watching the kids, right? So like if one of the parents is bowling, like that has your attention. You're not, you know, it's like, and if they have 4.
Yeah, 4 at the time.
4 at the time. Yeah.
So
it's a lot for one person to watch.
Oh yeah, and I think that's probably why like the other family members were there too.
Yeah.
And it could just be like, I mean, families go and do stuff like that. It's fun.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a tight-knit family where a lot of the kids are similar in age. It's fun to just let them all hang out, do the thing, you know.
Well, especially I know ours did on like a Saturday night in the 90s, like a Saturday night at the bowling alley, or even Friday night. Friday night and Saturday night were like Rockin' Bowl, Disco Bowl, like the lights go down.
Glow Bowl.
Yep, Glow Bowl, right? Like anything where it's like it's now darker than normal.
Yep.
In an already not necessarily the best well lit place to begin with.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
okay.
Around 10:15, Teresa, Teekah's mom, turned her back for a moment to check on her brother who was bowling, and when she turned back around, Teekah had disappeared. So initially, Teresa tried to stay calm. She assumed Teekah had just maybe wandered off, hit the bathroom. Teresa scoured the bowling alley. She checked the arcade, the bathroom, all the stalls. She kind of checked everywhere. And that's when panic kind of started to set in.
Yeah.
You know, she could not find, like, Teekah was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So a couple of the articles I saw said that there was actually an off-duty police officer that she talked to, and they called in the police. They did a 15-hour search, and in that time, there was no sign of Teekah. Which is just, I can't even imagine. So Teresa realized that her fears were valid and her child was missing.
Yeah.
Police were notified and the bowling alley was again searched. You know, like I said, they searched for 15 hours. Police learned that the game Teekah was playing was located just about 6 feet from an exit out of the bowling alley, and that her family had only been like 2 to 3 feet away when she seemed to have just vanished into thin air.
Okay.
So The investigation that followed didn't really produce many leads, unfortunately. There was a witness who reported seeing a late 80s, early 90s Pontiac Grand Am speed out of the bowling alley's parking lot on the night that Teekah disappeared around that time.
Okay.
Now keep that in mind. Tuck that away for later because it's going to come back up.
What was it? Pontiac?
Grand Am.
Grand Am. Okay.
Mm-hmm. One witness reported seeing a man, mid-30s. They described him as mid-30s, large nose, pockmarked face, shoulder-length brown hair, and a mustache. And they thought that they had seen him follow another child to the exit of the bowling alley that night as well.
Okay.
So, like I said, keep that description. Also, keep that description in mind.
Okay.
There's a lot of tie-ins that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
So after news of Teekah's disappearance flooded outlets all over Washington state, a father came forward to report that his 4-year-old son had told him that he had actually been molested in the bathroom at the very same bowling alley just 2 months prior to Teekah disappearing.
Okay.
The man suspected in the molestation case of the 4-year-old boy was reported to have curly brown hair and a beard. He was familiar to the staff at the bowling alley, like they had seen him around, but they didn't know who he was. So I think it was probably one of those people that they're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that guy, but I can't remember what's his name, I've seen him around, but maybe not enough to make he wasn't a regular, I wouldn't think,
Yeah, not quite a regular, but enough that people
recognize.
I've seen him a few times. Yeah,
they're like, yeah, that could be so and so, or that one guy. I think I've seen that guy before.
Right. So I feel like you don't really give your name.
No, unless somebody's checking you out at the bowling alley, that would be the only time. But even if you give, back in '99, cash was probably being used a lot too. So
yeah,
it's not like somebody saw your credit card.
Yep.
So. Yeah. Now, the same day that Teekah was taken, a man with curly brown hair tried to lure 2 children from a park that was located less than a mile away from the bowling alley. Luckily, the 2 kids' father was there, and he saw the man trying to get his kids, and he ran him off.
Okay.
The suspect fled the park in a 1995 Grand Am. Although it was reportedly blue, and the one seen in the parking lot of the bowling alley, they said was like a maroon or a dark purple.
Okay. But
purple and blue are super similar. A dark maroon, and it's dark at night.
Yeah.
It's very odd that the same model was seen, you know?
Yeah. I'd probably go off the model or more than the color, especially at night.
Mm-hmm. So police continued searching for Teekah, but their efforts seemed to yield little progress in actually finding her. They continued their search and investigation, but it feels like the case went cold pretty quickly, even with the few leads that they did have. And we're going to talk about it. It seems like there may have been some oversight in the investigators. On the investigator's part. But we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So...
Like they missed something?
Yeah, or they didn't follow up where they should have.
Oh, okay.
So, some discarded male clothing was found across the street from the bowling alley, but that lead went nowhere. It didn't... There were some initials they think they found on them, like IS or JS, but...
Okay.
Didn't really lead to anything that I was able to find.
Who puts initials on their clothes unless it's a little kid?
I know, which is weird.
Yeah.
Or a dude that lives in his mom's basement.
Could be that.
Over the years, hope rose that Teekah had been found on a few different occasions. In 2001, the body of a 4-year-old was found in St. Louis, but unfortunately, DNA testing confirmed that it wasn't Teekah. Then in 2013, when the 3 kidnapping victims of Ariel Castro escaped, Teekah's family was hopeful that maybe one of the girls was actually Teekah.
Oh, okay.
If you guys don't know...
That'd be crazy.
I know. I mean, they were somebody's daughters.
Absolutely.
If you guys aren't familiar with the Ariel Castro case, that one's on our list, but quick overview. He, over the course of several years, kidnapped and kept 3 women locked in his basement, essentially. I think he actually had killed one as well. There was like a fourth victim that he killed, but I might be thinking of somebody else. But
Okay.
3 did escape. One, I believe, even had a daughter by Ariel because they were obviously like being raped, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go too much into that. But the family did, for a minute, hope that maybe Teekah was one of the girls. But again, false hope.
I suppose 2013, yeah, she would have been like a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. 15, 16, about that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Teekah Lewis law was actually enacted in 1999, and its purpose was to create resources and training for police to work on missing children cases. At the time, there wasn't really a lot of knowledge or know-how on how to work a missing child's case. So it also allowed for the creation of a task force for missing kids in Washington state.
Okay.
Seems a little too late, but I guess better late than never, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, there was a few incidents over the years where they thought maybe they had found Teekah. So jump ahead to 2020. Yeah, so, 21 years later,
Yeah.
a private investigator was working on Teekah's case, and he found a few things in the case file that had never been followed up on. So a 17-year-old reported to the police that he had been shoulder checked by a guy with a little girl near the bathrooms of the bowling alley the night that Teekah disappeared. So the teen remembered thinking that the guy was super rude because he bumped into him but never apologized.
Yeah.
And he seemed to be like in a huge hurry.
Yeah.
The teen brushed off the incident until leaving, and then they realized what had happened. Like they saw the police cars and things like that. He spoke to the police in January of 99, which was the same month that Teekah disappeared.
Yeah.
But he never heard anything after that. The police never followed up with him, never contacted him after that. Now, his description of the man was a large guy with a pockmarked face holding the hand of a young multiracial girl.
Okay.
And Teekah was multiracial. She was black, white, and Native American.
Okay.
Super cute little girl. Oh my God, she was so adorable.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You're gonna post pictures.
We're gonna put pictures, and we do have an age progressed photo as well that we're gonna post. But very cute little girl. Just
Okay.
yeah. But now remember, earlier another witness had described a man with pockmarked face hanging around as well.
Yep. Yep. I do remember.
And then another tip that didn't ever seem to be followed up on was the employees of the bowling alley had also seen a man with a pockmarked face acting suspiciously about a week later when the news was there filming a piece about Teekah's disappearance. This is a very crucial tip because the other reports of a man with a pockmarked face weren't public information at that time. So,
Okay.
and it would be fitting that maybe her abductor would return to the scene of the crime. They also described him as having shoulder-length curly brown hair, which
Okay.
fits the guy that had tried to lure the other 2 kids in.
Yeah.
And he was also driving a similar car to the one spotted at the bowling alley the night Teekah disappeared.
Okay.
And police did not follow up on that tip.
Jeez. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Can you describe what a pockmarked face? Like, how would you think of that as?
So it's like if you have like acne scars, like a lot of acne scars or scarring on your face,
Okay.
is what I think that is.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very distinguishable characteristic. Like if somebody has a lot of like acne scars on their face, and they're deep scars too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something you can like cover up necessarily. It's
Maybe in this day and age, but I don't think the makeup technology was like that in 99.
yeah, and it's a guy too, so he's probably not wearing makeup.
No, I mean people were way less accepting back then, but
Yeah.
so the fact that so many people reported seeing the same guy definitely means that the police should have looked into that. Now, maybe they did, but the fact that they didn't follow up with these people seems like an oversight on their part.
Yeah.
Because they also saw him in a car that fit the description of the other cars that had been seen.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they put in some effort. It's not like, I mean, like you said, it made the news and everything, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
I think the complaint is if it's not a white person missing, people don't make the news, but it sounds like this one did.
It did. Teekah did make the news.
Yeah.
I feel like those were very important tips that should have been followed up on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they tie it into everything else. So
Yeah.
and to me it sounds like the man who took Teekah, molested the child at the same bowling alley, and tried to lure the children from the park are all the same person.
Yeah.
And it feels like this is escalation.
Yeah, it does.
With so many tips, it's hard to imagine the police haven't found a viable suspect yet. I think they've looked at people, but nobody's ever been brought in as far as I could see. Nobody's been charged. She's never been found. Like I said, this is still unsolved. Yeah. I think there were maybe some errors or some pretty serious oversights that that could have maybe potentially helped find her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now the tip about the man with the child, it feels like a really important one.
Yeah.
You know?
The one with the multiracial child?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And so the police not following up on that feels like they fucked that one up.
Yeah.
You know?
Somebody didn't take the notes on that one good enough.
Or they put him in the file and just forgot about it. Or didn't read.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because you're saying that it was in the file.
It was in the file because a private investigator found it and followed up with the guy.
Yeah.
And he said he still remembers that guy's face because of the characteristics, like the pockmarks. And he thought he was a really rude dude. Teekah's family holds vigils. You know, they've held vigils throughout the years. And they're still working to find their missing daughter. Teresa went on the Montel Williams show to try to bring national attention to their daughter's case. Like I said in the beginning, there's not a ton of info on this one. What we do know that is, as of today, September 18th, 2023, Teekah is still missing. Her family has gone 24 years without any idea of what happened to their daughter. Sister, granddaughter, you know, she was a lot of things to a lot of people. She would be 26 years old, and we will post the age progressed photo on our socials. At the time of her disappearance, Teekah loved Starbursts, which...
Who doesn't?
Same. Winnie the Pooh, and she was a mama's girl. And the family knew that Teekah wouldn't have just wandered away on her own.
Yeah.
So, if you have any information, no matter how insignificant it may seem, please reach out to Crime Stoppers of Pierce County and Tacoma. We're going to post the link information. Teekah deserves to be found. Her family deserves to have answers. We will post the flyer for her disappearance along with the photos, the age progressions, and the resources to call and tips. So, before we go, babe, any last thoughts?
In my head, I'm comparing this to the Lindsay Baum case.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it seems like there's some leads here. It seems like definitely a creepy figure seen in the area. You know, more than likely, potentially the person who did it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the Lindsay Baum case where there was nothing.
Yeah.
But then I think of how in the Lindsay Baum case, they found like the bones and stuff and were able to tie it back with DNA to prove that it was her.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, you don't have anything. And so, yeah, it's really like the not knowing is killing you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that'd be very rough.
I saw a few things that said that, like, her mom has held out hope that somebody just abducted her and raised her and she's still alive. She had a good life. Like, they really did, you know, just want their own child, which I think a lot of parents of abducted children think that. And they also thought that maybe because she was so young, she was only 2.5. She could have, if she were to have been abducted, they thought maybe she wouldn't remember.
Yeah.
Which is very, very possible, you know.
Maybe. Yeah.
It does happen, you know, but.
That's best case scenario, though.
That is the best case scenario. Unfortunately, that's probably not the most realistic scenario.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't imagine the not knowing. Like,
yeah.
My mind would always go to worst case scenario.
Yeah.
That I can't even vocalize. But
yeah.
Um, but then you have people like JC Dugard, who was missing for, gosh, what was it, 18, like over 10 years.
Yeah.
She was found alive.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Smart, she disappeared for 9 months, and she was, they found her. So it does provide hope that maybe, I think when the JC Dugard case broke out, I think a lot of people that probably had missing children, it probably gave them some hope.
Yeah.
I would feel, I think I were in that case, I would think, well, maybe my daughter is still alive. Maybe
Yeah.
now JC Dugard did not have an easy life with her abductor,
Right.
but she was still alive.
Yeah.
And I think she's thriving now. Like,
Okay.
yeah. But same with Elizabeth Smart. Like, I actually follow her on Facebook, and she's just the most inspirational person ever. And she's
Okay.
like a big advocate for like bodily autonomy with your kids and like teaching them. She's just great. If you guys aren't following her on social media, you should follow her. She's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other thoughts? Where is this in relation to like the Amber Alert stuff? Too early? Like was Amber Alert like 2000s?
I'm trying to remember. Okay, so Amber Alert, it came into law after the kidnapping and murder of Amber Hagerman in Arlington, Texas. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
North Arlington, Texas. And that was in January of 96. So
Okay.
Amber Alert was probably just coming out about that time.
Yeah.
Okay, Amber Alert was created in 96, but it probably didn't. It's not like we have now. And in
Yeah.
99, it was still fairly new. So it's not like,
Yeah.
we get Amber Alerts on our phone.
Yeah, I was thinking that like in 99 I didn't have a cell phone,
No, I didn't either.
you know.
So it was, I mean, I think they went out probably to police officers, but I don't know if an Amber Alert went out on Teekah.
Yeah. And I bet I would think that the early versions were like, yeah, like you said, for cops. So if you do a traffic stop and there's like a weird situation where it seems like there's a kid there, or maybe they got out the information that there's a 3-year-old mixed race baby out here, you
Yeah.
know? Or,
Amber Alerts weren't active in the area yet in 99
Okay.
for Teekah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had that too, right? Like, yeah. Thing down in Texas says had it become nationwide? Was it implemented? That type of thing. It's the thoughts we have now, where like now that we have it,
Yeah. Like,
And
why
it's-
didn't we? Why
Yeah.
wasn't this always a thing? But like everything else, I mean, police used to say you had to wait so many hours before reporting a child missing or a teen missing. So,
yeah,
and we know now that the first 48 are the absolutely most crucial, or the first 24 even are the most crucial, because that's when all your evidence is there.
yeah,
It's a continual learning process.
yeah.
And
mean,
thank
I'm-
God for distribution. Sorry, I just interrupted you.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry.
No, go.
No, that's it. Thank God for the distribution factor of cell phones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's if you're snatching a kid, getting in your car, like it's not like you're pulling over, getting out, grabbing McDonald's, going into McDonald's. Like, I think it's pretty. If you're being snatched, like once you're in that car, I don't know how much the Amber Alert helps. I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Short of, like you said, getting pulled over.
Yeah,
And even then, we know sometimes that it's just,
even then.
you just never know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's just, like I said, I remember this case from when I was like a teenager, and it was just, her sweet little face was all over the news for so long, and then it just kind of faded,
Yeah.
which is the saddest part, because
yeah,
she didn't undisappear. She still is missing. So
yeah.
yeah. So if you, like we said, if you guys have any if you have any information, if you were there at that time, if you heard somebody say something, please turn it in. You never know what tip could just be that missing piece that's going to blow the whole thing apart, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're the piece of shit, confess.
Yeah.
Confess.
Don't wait till your deathbed. Just confess.
Just out with it. Get it off your conscience.
The not knowing, I don't know how she could go on, like, as a parent, you go on living with that continual never knowing what happened to your child.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, they had other kids, so they had to move on.
Yeah.
One of the things, too, like, so Teekah's dad was actually in jail at the time. They mentioned, a few of the articles mentioned, like, parental abduction, but they cleared him very quickly because he was incarcerated at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that that matters, but just people out there might be like, well, what about the dad? Like, where is he in this?
I'd assume the dad was at the bowling alley, so until you mentioned it, like, not knowing the case.
Yeah.
So it's fair that you brought it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you did talk about the name changes, so it was like, yeah, what you want to call it?
Yeah.
When you were talking about the name changes, I was like, well, clearly they got married because obviously they had a kid. Like, got to be married to have sex, remember?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah, I'm trying. Hold on. Let me see if there's anything else in this brain of mine. Ooh, yeah. So for the pictures.
Yeah.
Did they ever sketch artist the pockmarked face thing guy?
Not that I found. They released a description.
Okay.
But I didn't ever find like a sketch artist.
Okay.
Depiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it.
Okay. Well, as always, thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and download our show, as well as leaving us a rating and review. 5 stars are great. That helps us become more visible to more people. So give us a like or follow on whatever platform you're listening on. Also, please help us out by sharing us with your friends, family, social media, all the things. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Creepy Cascadia Pod. We also have a website, which is just creepycascadiapod.com. Or you can send us an email to admin@creepycascadiapod.com if you have a recommendation for a topic you want us to cover. If you have your own like ghost story, encounter with Sasquatch, alien abduction, feel free to share. But with that, we hope everybody has a great week. Remember, if you have any information, please check out our socials so you can call in a tip. Hopefully we can help bring Teekah home. So
yep.
Everybody have a great week.
Don't bring lilies home if you have cats.
Don't bring lilies home if you have cats. They're persona... No.
Non grata.
They're flora non grata.
Flora non grata. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Sharp as a tack, this one. All right, bye.
Bye.